This is basically just going to be a quick rip. Really, actually not quick because it's running a 72. Well, actually, it's a 76. It's either a 72 or a 7600 milliamp power hobby pack. I got to expend it. It's been sitting fully charged for too long. So we're going to go out to the backyard track and we're going to rip this Losi Tenacity Lazernut.
Yeah, well, I thought I was going to rip it, and I did. I will, I'll speed it up. I think it was right up somewhere here.
Rock racer. The thing is fast.
For some reason, I had it in my mind when I got to this point right here. Where is it? I wanted to give this thing a real rip. I mean, if you saw how I was in the car, basically in this section right here, I was just full triggering. So what I'm doing right now with this Lazernut is I feel like I'm trying to prove a theory on this particular car. And so far, granted, what you're going to see next did result in breakage, but it's what I call deserved breakage.
Ooh. Oh, what did I do there? Pop the shock off? Oh, no, I broke it. Oh, no.
All right, so I'll just stop it right there. We'll train in on the Lazernut, give you a little bit of light. I need to figure something else with lighting. I gotta pull like 1,000 switches in order to get this thing lit. So to be that, like I always say, to be that 100% honest with you, that is what I call deserved breakage. I really had that attitude. Like, if you go back to a couple of videos that I did, you know, quite a while ago, I used to do this, or at least have this attitude. I care nothing about nothing. I'm going to full trigger this and just whatever happens, happens. And I've done that on a few vehicles. And there are a few vehicles that I feel can take that abuse. This is actually one of the vehicles that I'm that borderline thinking that it can take the abuse. Now, I know other people have been having issues with their Lazernut, but I quite honestly feel the reason why they're having their issues is because they left it in its stock configuration. And I get it. The reason why some of those people or some of the people bought a Lazernut was because they wanted a rock racer that like was a rock racer. But I feel like, granted, I can't watch every single video out there on a broken Lazernut. I feel like what those people have done is they have possibly, again, this is my own personal opinion, they've possibly taken a car that's designed for rock racing and they're exceeding the design of the car. Now, when I bought this thing, or when I got this thing, got to word it the right way. When I got this thing, I had no intention of leaving it the way it was. While I do like rock racers, there are only a couple of vehicles that I'll leave as a rock racer, and one of them is my Redcat. That's my Redcat CAMO X4. I actually wanted that because it was a rock racer. And that thing, after some modifications and after breakages, which you got to expect with a Redcat, the thing performs, and I beat it. That initial first or second rip that I took that thing out on, I was given that the full trigger treatment. And it resulted in breakage and but the breakage didn't even really affect its driving, meaning when I went back, I mean, I thought I heard something break on that CAMO X4 when it landed, but I didn't think anything of it in a way because the car didn't exhibit any issues. Now, obviously this one, that was full trigger from a hill coming down a slope, and I knew I wasn't aligned with my jump the best way. I mean, I tried to make it align a little bit, but I knew in order to get that full experience of just ultimate acceleration to a jump hit, meaning I wanted this car to suffer everything except the breakage. I didn't mean it to hit the rocks. I thought if you look at where the position that I was at, the position where I was at was not one of my normal locations where I stand. So I messed that up just because of alignment. I probably could have seen the fact that, you know, it was heading towards the rocks and the tree. Once it hit the jump, I suspected that I might have an issue. Now, that was a combination of driver. Well, that wasn't a combination of driver error. That was all driver error, that breakage. It may have survived. It may have survived the landing if I hadn't have kept into that brake as much as I did. If I had just done possibly a little throttle tap, I probably could have leveled out the car, and you don't know. You don't know what would have happened because that pile of rocks is, I mean, you know, you hit a pile of rocks. What do you expect? And those aren't like just little tiny pebbles. Those are, you know, what I would consider boulders in that scale RC, you know, kind of world thing, I guess. Those are all the rocks that I find all around my neighborhood. Well, not my neighborhood, all around my property. And I'll take them and I'll pile them there because eventually I know I'll get bored and break out a crawler. Well, I don't know, not bored, just, I don't know. Eventually I figure I'll break out a crawler. I've got a couple of them. I don't know. It's that full trigger experience that's what I like. I like, you gotta drive, like, put it this way, you gotta drive a car that in a safe area. I'm not recommending, you know, go to your local Walmart and do a burnout in the parking lot right next to the front doors. At some point in your life, if you've never done it, it does help to have a standard because, or a manual transmission, however you want to call it. You've got to get out there and you've got to do what's called smolder some tires. Having a standard or a manual transmission helps only in the sense that you get a sense of feeling in more control of the vehicle, meaning with an automatic, obviously, yes. An automatic, you can shift. There are some automatics, though, that even if you put it into low range, I can't remember. There was one car. Maybe it didn't. Maybe I'm just losing my mind. Well, either way, if you could manually shift your automatic, maybe not the cars necessarily that are there or around nowadays, there's a certain just rawness of, you know, you're in first gear. You just mash that throttle and just sidestep that clutch. There's just a certain amount of, and I'm not promoting violence, but this is the reaction of the car, the drivetrain, everything about it is a certain amount of, to be quite honest with you, violence. And like I said, I'm not promoting violence. It's the action of the car. When those, if your drivetrain holds together, when those rear or front tires break traction, whatever you got, and they start spinning and you're not going anywhere except for like inching forward a couple of inches because there's so much smoke filling the area from the tires breaking traction, there's just a certain kind of rush, adrenaline, feeling. It's the overall just everything experience. And I do that with some of these RCs because I want to see, okay, if I just mash that throttle and kind of steer, you know, so it doesn't hit a tree. Will it be able, do I have, how about this? Do I have the ability to recover? Because there was one specific time in my Trans Am, my 02, where, again, I'm not promoting that people do this, but I was coming off of an off-ramp. There was a yield. There was no traffic, nobody behind me, nobody in front of me, nobody left, nobody right. It was totally free and clear. I was still in a roll. I was in second gear, I believe, and I just literally boned the throttle and just sidestepped the clutch. And of course, yes, in that car, it's going to break traction. Now, I was already on a right-handed kind of turn coming into that kind of, you know, road. Now, instantly, obviously, the car just broke traction, smoke. I counter steered into the turn, and I actually, I don't know why, but for some odd reason, it might have been because the tires were kind of maybe already warm. Unexpectedly, the car actually hooked. Hooked meaning it gained traction when I thought it was going to stay in a drift. And what had happened is it caught, and because I was in that counter steer, it caught and it basically vaulted me to that right side. And I tried to, and I probably should have let go of the steering wheel to let it autocorrect, because cars do have a tendency, they can correct themselves. But I tried to correct it, but unfortunately, because I still kept my foot in the throttle, I did come around. Now, there was no accident, no crash. I still maintained a certain amount of, you know, a certain amount of competence within the driving. But I did, you know, clutch in and regained a better control. I ended up not coming a full 360, but it was pretty close to where I just had to, you know, go into the other lane and kind of come out, and still there was nobody there. And while I'm not saying, I'm not promoting doing that, at some point you just gotta experience it. So with the RC cars, that's what sometimes you get the experience of, when you can just get out there and just rip the thing to an inch of its life. And that's what I did with this Lazernut. So what we're going to do today is see what kind of damage I am going to have to pay for, because I decided I wanted to be, well, not an idiot, but I wanted to see. Everybody's complaining about this Lazernut. Now, my configuration, or I forget I can't figure out what the word is. What the heck is the word? Conversion. It's early. So has my conversion of this car, which is so minor, has it created that buffer between drivability and breakage? And I really think it has. I saw it in my head. I knew it needed to happen. Just watching, I watched 2 videos. I only watched 2 videos while this Lazernut was on its way. CCXRC Tony, some people know him. And then I think it was the scale builder guy, not the guild guy, but the Harley. So they both did videos on the Lazernut, and I didn't like what I saw. While Tony's filming process was spot on, awesome, excellent filming, because that's what he does. And then the Harley guy, he's more of that, like, you know, scale technical. He was all amped up about the scale accessories, the scale look, and all this other stuff. But from my mind, already knowing what the real Lazernut looks like, the one thing that is not scale is the tires and wheels. So Now you've got this big chunky butt end hanging off of the, I mean, the tires are still here. You got this big tire hanging off of the back end, which is not scale because I guess this is just how they had to do it. Then even just the tires and wheels themselves on the rig is not scale. My thought was from what I was seeing, I didn't like it. So I immediately started doing research and I'm like, that tire is off. I'm going to order up parts, pieces to throw a wing on it. Those tires are coming off. I'm going to order up adapters and whatever I need to get rid of those tires and wheels and throw these on it. Now, you can pick whatever you want, but let me explain something. I know I'm doing like a whole bunch of talking right now, and I'm sorry if you don't like that, if you want to see wrenching, but that's why I probably should have called this Shop Talking Wrench. This is COVID and coffee. Redcat Racing got a bunch of things right with this Kaiju, and this is actually a Redcat Racing Kaiju tire and wheel, okay? They got a ton of things right with this car, with the Kaiju, that even the tires and wheels, when I first got these tires and wheels, all the stuff that you guys don't realize that I do, not everything is filmed. So when I got my car, before I took it out, you know, I did the unboxing, all that stuff. I literally went over the car. And, you know, granted, there were things that, you know, came out and, you know, that needed to be addressed. And the whole pandemic thing kind of messed things up for people getting parts. And the Kaiju is one of the vehicles that you got to have one of these Kaijus in your collection. My Kaiju is still broken, but I just haven't had the time to fix it. And yes, that's kind of an excuse. But these Redcat Racing Kaiju tires and wheels, there's a bunch of things that are right about this setup. Number one, the configuration of the rim, the strength, the ribs, everything about this actual rim itself, even the offset. Again, nothing is perfect. The tire. A lot of people, you know, freak out because they get on the belted tire bandwagon is kind of what I call it. And for people that, you know, want, I guess, a certain amount of controllability and speed and whatever, yeah, I get it. A belted tire is great, but this tire right here serves in its current configuration a number of things. So the sidewall flex, okay, the fact that this rim can actually shift inside of the tire as easy as it does because of the sidewall flex, that does so much for the RC and for the drivetrain. The fact that, yes, it does definitely turn into a pizza cutter, but not in a huge amount. Yeah, maybe if you put this thing on 16S, you know, 8 + 8 = 16S. If you put this thing on 16S, yeah, I'm sure the thing would fly off, and I don't think the rim would disintegrate, but I'm sure the tire would. So it does have its limitations. So, but I knew I was going to run this on my Lazernut 4S. I knew the sidewall just with the torque, okay, just with the torque of the rim. I know you can't see it because the camera just doesn't show it. When you torque that rim, there's a certain amount of sidewall flex that you're also getting that breaks away from a little bit of the traction. It's not massive. Even the knobs, the ultimate traction that this tire gets. I mean, these things are only $30 for a set of two. You're paying $15 for a tire and wheel each. You don't buy it, then there's something wrong with you. It's like, I think that should be one of my things on my shirt. Something's wrong with you. Or if you don't, something's wrong with you. I don't know. But in my mind, because I already had good experience with these tires and wheels, very early on, I got like, I don't know how many sets I got. I think I got like 12 sets of tires and wheels because I knew this was going to be a good setup. I literally said just about every vehicle that I get that's going to be able to accept this tire and wheel is going to be, you know, what I do. I'm going to throw this on because of what it can do. And yeah, there are other manufacturers that make tires and wheels that are similar, but I don't know. Something about Redcat racing. I've always liked Redcat cars. Some people are negative towards them. I don't care, because I'll get on that negative bandwagon too about some of their vehicles. Some of their vehicles are crap, but the Kaiju, they made a change. Even that Axe Edition, even the crawlers, they surprisingly, I mean, I did use my crawler. I did. When I first got it, I really beat the crap out of it. My dog had died, and I needed something, felt like I needed something to, keep my mind off of my dog dying. So, yeah, I don't know. Where am I going with this? That this right here so far has been the key to the reason why I'm having minimal breakage on my Lazernut. So that's like point blank. That's it. The fact that I took that back tire off, I'm running a very slightly extended hex. I'm also running wheel adapters that just allow that conversion from a 12 to a 17. But the wheel adapters, I tried to make sure that I kept it at a minimum to where the offset of this wheel compared to the offset of the Lazernut original factory wheel, I knew that I needed to space this out, but then I knew that it would technically be sucked in, if you get what I'm saying. So I took like a bunch of measurements, and I found the correct hex. Like, it's a hex extender slash hex conversion 12 to 17. So I'm having no driveline issues with my Lazernut so far. And like I constantly bring out, maybe I should record every single time I drive these RC cars, but there are times when you just want to get out there and drive. You don't want to film. You want to have fun, like what other people are doing that aren't filming. You know what I mean? Because once you film, there's a certain amount of like loss of enjoyment, just a little bit of a loss of enjoyment. Although I will say, when you do film, the great part about filming is that you can catch those things that your eyes can't see. Like when my Losi DBXL-E 2.0, when that thing crashed into the tree, the link broke off and it was gone. And without that footage, I wouldn't have known where that link went. I would have known that link. Well, I mean, I knew that both ends broke, but that link was tumbling in the air, and I was able to catch it because I recorded at 120 frames per second, I believe. And when that thing impacted the tree, that link, obviously, which is, you got to have a weak link. Otherwise, you could have some major breakage. That link was literally tumbling in the air, and the footage allowed me to see it, which, I can't remember like if I found it or if I went back into my camera just to see, and I honestly don't remember, but it was crazy that you could see that tumbling effect with the link. So anyways, if you've got a Lazernut, if you bought it to be a rock racer, you may end up with some problems. But somebody like me, mine wasn't going to stay that U4 scale rock racer. It was getting this tire and wheel. And I'm telling you right now, so far, even though this is basically a stretched DB Pro, so far, this thing's ripping. So, all right. So I'm just going to basically live show you what's wrong with this Lazernut right now. And I know I've noticed too, I've been doing like a lot of slow talking and pauses and all that stuff. And when I try to edit, I'll try to like minimize some of that stuff. In that last video, I don't know if you saw, I did that thing where in one of my pauses, when my gears are spinning, in one of my pauses, I actually cut the footage. So I cut the footage and I took the audio and I underlaid the audio so that my continuation of my sentence like flowed through. And that is one of the things that I talk to you guys about. Two guys that I always talk about filming. If you want to learn how to film, go watch Peter McKinnon and Casey Neistat. They will show you little things that it's just a different way of doing things. And because I'm trying to also hold people's attention, because that thing where people say I talk too much. Whatever. It's me. I'm going to talk. So I've been trying to do just a little bit of, things here and there. Sometimes you end up getting stale. And that's also the other thing you got to remember. You might want to focus on just doing one car for a certain block of time. What is that? All right. I don't even know where I was. Something about a certain block of time. I'm trying to like film, a specific car. I want to get through it. You got to realize that, or at least I got to realize that instead of focusing just primarily on one car, I've also got to take out the other cars, because that's sometimes what people want to see. People don't just want to see like, 10,000 videos on one car. They want to see like, what's going on with the other cars, like what's going on with my UDR. My UDR is still in pieces. I've probably lost pieces now by this time. My X-Max, which is a 2-time rip, is now in a box and it's labeled trash bag. So I haven't even put that together. I'm probably missing parts from that too now. So I just is what it is. So anyways, I'm just going to get into working on this Lazernut. What's that? Enough talking, guy. Jesus, just get to the subject, man. Game changer, guy. What's going on, man? Holy moly, guy. Thank you for that. Holy smokes, guy. Are you kidding me? Sergeant J, what's going on? Icon, Lorne. We got Sammy. What's going on there, Sam? We got another Sam. Sam Wega. Trash Ninja. Big Muscle. What's going on, man? Joey Hernandez. What's going on? Demo. Jessica. What's going on, guy? I like saying Jessica. What's going on, guy? RC Will Hobbies. Good morning. Crack. What's going on? Scruffy Page is here. Who else? Who else? We got 36 people. All right. There's only 15 thumbs ups. Mile High. Dude, Mile High. Throw a thumbs up on there, will you? Come on. Oh, Chef Beardsley. Chef Beardsley, I know you haven't done a thumbs up. Come on. J.O. I know J.O. hasn't. Nice. We got 16 now. Little guy, what's going on, man? Don't forget the thumbs up. Game changer, you too. Matrix, what's going on, man? How are you? Matrix, guy. Matrix, you never answered my question. What's wrong with you, guy? When somebody makes a comment on your videos, you got to answer the questions. So, Matrix, you did a pretty sick light install on your felony. Where are the links to the lights, man? I love that. So Matrix RC has got an ARRMA felony, right? And he's been doing some ripping with it. But he also put in a light. Now, I'm not sure, how you did the light setup, and I don't even know if you filmed it. If you didn't, you should have. But he actually took LEDs and stuck them inside of the rear exhaust pipes. And it actually looks pretty good. So, Matrix, where's the link, guy? Don't forget to link your stuff. All right. Matrix is probably gone anyway. 22. Come on, there's 35 people here. It's got to be like, we got to get like 35 people, but they got to be like 40 thumbs ups. Oh, Matrix, you took off, didn't you? Gazelle, what's going on? Anyways, all right. Into the breakdown thing here. It's a very, very minor repair that needs to happen on this thing. Obviously, the winch popped off, but it's actually not broken. It just slides on. But I have no use for that winch. This car is also suffering a large amount of rust. So how did I know like I've got issues? There's something else that I also want to I want to see if this car is actually okay. Okay meaning I know the shock tower is bent. I figured that out when I went to go pop this top, and this side body pin did not want to release. So I knew that I had bent something. Also, when you drive in this car, these little plastic pieces like to move and crack and make noises. It's not the car breaking. It's literally just the plastic moving. For some reason, this isn't like bolted or anything. And I think what should happen is it actually should be taped inside. This car is also running a Game Changer version 1 fan, which I don't need to change this to a version 2 because the version 1 works absolutely mint. See where I've got the setup right here of the fan? No, you can't because it's right there. That's where I've got the fan set up on this setup. Set up on the setup. The only thing about this little thing that I put here, this Velcro, is that I can't reach my finger in and unstrap it. So I got to use like needle nose pliers. Get in there. That's the only negative about this little Velcro strap. But the Velcro strap is just there for two things. To keep my Game Changer fan plugged in, you know, so when the wire's like bouncing around, it's not bouncing around too much. The connector stays together. And yes, stupidly, I'm just realizing right now, I did leave my battery plugged in, which you are not supposed to do. And I do run adapters, but it's just because of Power Hobby. So it's hard sometimes because there are certain vehicles that you want to leave the factory connector in, like all of my Spectrum stuff. Anything that's got this IC5 connector is going to stay IC5, and I'll just put an adapter to. Am I losing a little bit of something? Yeah, I know I am, but I'm okay with that. My RCs, can I clean them better than I do? Yes, absolutely. Am I getting rust because I took it to the beach? Yes, 100%. The salt, sand had a moisture content of salt, which obviously got on all of my whole everything, and all those parts that have the very weak coating are starting to rust. So that's another thing to keep in mind. If you take your car to the ocean or anything like that, you've got to wash it down, and you've got to like WD-40 or something, you know, areas. Just give it like a mist or something that's going to, you know, help prevent those parts from, you got to be careful with WD-40 too on your plastics, but it's going to help prevent a little bit of rust. All right, so battery's out. What I wanted to check was I wanted to check my actual wheel alignment right now. So, and I probably can't because the shock is broken. Yeah, so I kind of really can't. Well, all right. So what ended up happening was I did end up I did end up bending the shock tower right there. You can obviously see it's bent. It did break the bolt that came through, but it broke it right at the nylock. I think that's a nylock nut. It's either a nylock or that's like the whole ball. And that I think this is like a spacer. I can't tell if this is like, I just can't tell. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that bolt right there that's on the shock tower. And you can see that it's bent. If I bring you like that, you can see when I do the alignment, you can see it's bent. So the ear is very slightly bent, which is crazy. And the bend, you have to follow the bend, because it's not just this ear that's bent. It's literally bent right here. So it starts here and it just curves all the way. And for the shock, not have any issues is insane. So kaiju tires, another thing that's nice about these, you can use these as little stands too. See, what I do is I just put the car like that. Now all four wheels are off the ground. Top 3 rust inhibitors. How about just never drive your car in wetness or salt water? I really believe it is the geometry and the mods you did that helped with that. Oh, the car? You're not losing any power with an IC5? What are you talking about? I'm losing power by using an adapter. It's so minimal it doesn't matter. But yes, anytime you introduce any kind of adapter, you're going to have a certain amount of resistance. You have resistance along the wire anyway. That's why usually when I do connectors, I really make them as short as they can be. It's so minimal with an RC car. It really doesn't matter if you're a basher, but literally if time mattered and you were a paid sponsored racer and that was your life, your battery would probably be hardwired to the ESC. Hardwired battery. That'd be the way to go. So I am going to, I think, leave this shock in place. I am going to take off this wheel. And the only reason why I'm taking off this wheel is because I do need to balance it. That's going to be part of this thing here. Oh, the other thing too. Pacific. So my live stream, no matter where I am in the live stream, my live stream is going to end at 11. So no matter where I am, it's going to end at 11. Hopefully I won't go all the way to 11 anyway. All right, what's the best thing? Probably something like that. Barbecue, what's going on, guy? All right. So everything else is literally mint. So I want to be able to figure out what's going on here. And I don't know if that's something that I can twist off. I think I might be able to. Hey, look at that. Easier than I thought. So that's exactly what it was. All it was the bolt broke. So that's mint. Now that's a good thing, because that shows that even within the design of the car, the little piece that's supposed to break is what broke. I'll take these bolts out because I don't need those sitting there anymore. These are for the winch. I don't need the winch in here. Weight savings. It's going to wheelie so much better now with all that front end weight gone. So now this piece should be this. Yep, look at that. That's as easy as it is. Now, that's the only issue. The actual nylock, got broken. So I'll have to use like a wrench to pull that off, which hopefully, look what the wrench says. Here we go. So I'll show you the nylock in a second. The actual flange of the nylock portion is bent. Come on. What's happening is not allowing the actual wrench to go on. Not the wrench, but the, you know, this wrench. See how that little piece got bent over? Now, technically, I can reuse this by just taking my pliers, and I can rebend that flange. Or I could put it in a vise and rebend that flange. Yeah, probably put it in the vise and rebend it. But I'll be able to reuse this. I think what I'll do is I'll just rebend that little piece that's not allowing the actual wrench thing to go on. And once I rebend that, it'll actually keep the nylock portion of the this nylock bolt in place and keep a good pressure on it. That's literally it. So now all I need to do is rebend my shock tower. And what I'm going to do is I am going to take off the front mount. Now, normally in automotive, meaning auto body, you would leave certain parts together. But in this case, I think I want to take, I don't know if I want to take this whole piece off. I don't really have to, but what I want to do is I do want to make this flat again. So normally in auto body, you would leave things all together because you'll be able to put a pull. It's called putting a pull on. You're reversing the direction of the accident. But I really, in this particular case, don't really need to do that. So all I'm doing is just getting this little piece out of the way. Oh, there's little shim things in there. I didn't know that. Yeah. Little figure eight, little spacer, shim spacer, whatever you want to call it. So I'll put a straight edge on here. mean, I know you can see the damage anyway. I'll try to make it aligned. So pretty much right where the camera is right now, that's showing you how much bend this has, because I should put a straight edge on the front here just to show you how far that bent. And I can't find my, I have like this real small straight edge. I'm not sure where it is right now. So that right there is where it should be. So not only is it bent here, but because of the impact, it bent it this way. Do you know what I mean? So instead of just bending just this top and tweaking it that way, it is actually bent going in that direction. So like as if I was going towards that back corner bottom wheel and tire on the back left. This is the front right. Can't believe I'm actually cleaning a part, huh? Isn't that amazing? The right way to do this would actually be to take this off, but I'm just going to do it on. I believe there's also stress down here because this whole section all the way down to this base is bent. So I'm going to apply some pressure going this way in this exact opposite direction, trying to get my tool up on there and bend it this way, like that. No, sir, you didn't miss a thing, guy. There's nothing to miss on this channel. Now all I'm going to do is just use an adjustable wrench to grab a hold of this ear and start to bend it back. Keeping in mind the angle of the bend. It's close. Now, the other thing that I don't have is I don't have any way of measuring like a point to a point. Meaning you could go across and get your measurements from shock tower to shock tower. And that would give you your number if you wanted to get super exact. But I should be able to get this just by eye. Now, looks to me like I actually bent this a little too much. So I'm going to get my straight edge on there, which I wish. Well, actually, it's not bent too much. That's rubbing on the whole thing. So what I'm doing is I'm sliding my straight edge along that backside edge, and I'm looking for gaps. Now, what I could do if I wanted to go nuts, I could get a feeler gauge, use a feeler gauge to check for gaps, but that's literally right where it wants to be. So, mint, that's it. It even has the right layback. So inside this little pocket, there is a certain amount of layback. It's from the chassis. So even the layback looks right. If I had my smaller, yeah, no gaps. Now see, that's awesome. Perfect. That's it. So now I need to do is I need to find a nut, a bolt that is this long. Hopefully, inside this bag of screws right here, hopefully, there's going to be something that'll replace this one. All right. I see you over there. He's still alive. Kind of. It actually doesn't look like I've got one that long. So what I could do is I could take one of these and I could cut it down. Now, here's the other thing, too, that I'm just noticing. Technically, I don't need it to be that long. That thing is huge. So maybe still don't have one that long though. All right, so something like this, I just basically have to cut this down. So what I will do is there's a couple of ways you can do this so that you can make sure that you take the burr off at the end. You take a nut, put it on, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this setup I'm going to align my nut pretty close to where this one is. Right about, I think right about there. What about there, maybe? Looks to be about right. I'm going to take my cutters, if I can find them. And I'm basically going to try and flush cut right to the top of that nut. If it would focus on what's at hand. I'm going to cut right to the top of that nut. Provided I can find my cutters. They should be. Watch, I probably put them away, and that's why I can't find them, because I put them away. There they are. See? Right in hand. So I'm just going to take that, and I'm just going to snip it off. And obviously that piece is going to fire off, so make sure you wear some safety, well, some people call them safety squints. Make sure you wear your safety glasses. I'm going to hold on to that piece, maybe, basically. And maybe cut it and it flies off. It's there. So I did cut it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to unwind this, and hopefully that nut is going to re-thread that end. The other thing you could do too, to help assist, is I could take a file right now. I can just file this end. Which my file is right here somewhere. It's your issue. There's nothing wrong with you. Just to help take that just leading edge burr off. Nothing crazy. Nice. Go back and forth a couple of times. There we go. Perfect. Now, that should thread on with no issue. Or thereabouts, no issue. God, I can't see. I can't see. Well, it should thread on with no issue. I'm going to redo it again. Keep it straight inside of there. There's a little bit of a burr on the end that's not wanting to get past. Perfect. There we go. All right. God, I can't see. There's a burr on there. A little bit of a burr. Perfect. Now remember, nylox can only be used just so many times. So that's something else to keep in mind too. Nylox are not forever. Now, this piece, like I said, I was going to bend that over. Just got to watch out you don't pinch your fingers. I'm telling you, if you do that, you'll know it. There we go. Just going to run this in just to make sure. See you later, Jess. Boy, that thing is massive. It's probably going to be like the only bolt that doesn't have rust on it right now. Oh, and that one's loose too. So I guess good time to check right now, make sure things are tight. Keep grabbing the wrong wrench. What's going on, buddy? Felt like it slipped off. Might have been the wrong one. There we go. That's better. I know. What's going on, buddy? Come on. It's always the way. It's always the way. Now I leave them loose just so I can put all of them in at the same time, so I don't have any alignment issue like I almost just did. Then once they're all in, just tighten them up. The cross pattern I do is just a habit. Good habit to get into. While I'm here, I'm just going to check a couple of these bolts just to make sure that these are tight, because it did take a pretty hard impact. Pretty good, man. Considering. One. Didn't need that for anything. Extra. Extra. Now this wheel should be massively out of balance. From what I saw, it was massively out of balance. That's where this thing comes into play. Now when you go to balance a wheel, you also want to make sure that your wheel is clean. So that might be the only negative that I'm going to encounter, is the fact that my wheel isn't spick and span, so I'll have to clean it up a little bit. And balancer is right here. So this is the wheel. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean the best way I can. I'm just going to take a brush. I'm going to clean out the debris, make sure that there's just no extra junk on this wheel so that I can balance it the right way and show you how massively out of balance this is. So I just used a couple of brushes, got inside all the nooks and crannies, tried to get the majority of the dirt out of there. The other way to do it also be use the air compressor. Make sure pretty much there's no like pebbles or junk just stuck in your tread. I mean, not that anything, you know, will stop causing your wheel from going out of balance, but at least if you start off with a wheel that's fairly clean, you're ahead of the game. So I'm just cleaning the surface. Now I just use a Gorilla style tape. You can use duct tape, whatever, but this stuff is just extremely. This is actually not Gorilla tape. This is an Extreme Hold duct tape brand. I believe this is duct tape. No, this is 3M. Sorry, 3M. So this is 3M Extreme Hold tape. I also do have Gorilla tape. I also use this. So I may end up ripping off a piece of this. I want to keep in mind the flat section of the wheel right here, because that's where I actually want to kind of measure from. I want my tape to basically be as wide as that section, so I don't have to cut grooves, because sometimes when you do apply it in here, you do have to take like a razor blade and just slice like little grooves in the tape so that it lays down flat if you didn't apply it right. The heck are you doing under there? Get out of there. Oh, that's nice, huh? Your battery died? You get lost? All right. So this is a wheel balancer from Team Associated. It's their factory team wheel balancer. I like this one. There are ones that have stands and all that stuff, but this is fine. You know, this is all I need. Basically, just take the balancer, throw it inside the wheel. I put it on usually the face of the wheel, because the face, depending upon how your wheel is dished and or the offset is, you'll usually have more rim surface on the inside, usually. Plus, when you put the tape on, you can hide the tape. Making sure that the adapter is totally inside, straight on the wheel, is pretty important. I mean, look at that. Look at how much that is rotating just in my hand, how badly out of balance it is. There's no sand in it. It's just that bad. And that's not, you know, it's not a bad thing about, you know, Redcat tires and wheels. It's just, it is what it is. So this one is massively out of balance. That's what I call huge. To be that far out of balance, that's massive. But I'm okay with that. So I take my paint marker, and usually wherever it stops, obviously all its weight is going to be down on the bottom. The lightest section of the wheel is going to be up top. So once it stops rolling or moving, you can just give it a touch with your finger to stop it. And basically, right here is where my weight is, where the lightest portion of the rim is. So the weight is on the opposite side. Then I'll take the tape. And I think, probably right about there. Now this is going to be huge. This is actually, this thing is like way out of balance. Like really bad. I don't think I did that well. Good enough. Good enough. Yeah. So this one actually may require a little bit more assistance than normal. That is massive. There's no water in it. There's no sand in it. It's just hugely. Yeah, that's massive. That almost needs a real wheel weight. You know that? I don't think I have any right now. So that literally needs lead. I do have lead, but unfortunately it's not the stick-on lead. I could make it stick on though. All right, I'll be right back. I gotta go find my lead. So that actually wasn't as hard as I thought. So I've got a strip of lead. Now this is what I use. This is actually what I use for my crawler tires, crawler wheels. So what I'll do is I'll basically, see, I already got strips already inside of here. What I'm going to do this time is, because this wheel is so bad, I should actually just replace it. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take a strip of lead and I'm going to insert it all the way into the wheel and tape it in. And I'll see how, I'm going to see if this actually works. I use a double-sided stick tape. I should have some double-sided. I used to have this double-sided tape. It was literally just tape, but I can't find it. Just enough to be able to stick this lead inside of there. So I'm going to want to cut it off right there. And let's see. I'm going to just temporarily tape it inside, just to see if that is where I want that to be. See if it was enough. Wow, still. It changed it. Definitely changed where the issue is. So I also want to change how this is in my vise too. God, that's massive. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull this out. This is one wheel that I've never seen this much out of balance. So it is actually changed. So I didn't pay attention to that. What an idiot. So with that tape on there, the balance actually changed. So it's now right there. And I'm just going to take the lead, stick it right in there, just tape it in place for now. Ha! It's actually almost at one of the holes. I didn't realize I was going to need stick-on weights. So it's actually still there, even with that lead. That's massive. Even with that lead on that section, that is huge. So what I'll do is I'll cut a bigger piece of lead. This literally needs wheel weights. This definitely would not pass. Holy crap. That's massive. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my razor blade and I'm going to cut a strip of lead. I need to do is I just need to make it flat now. I'm going to cut a groove in it. So it conforms right inside that middle. And it can go to there. Unglue the tire and rim? No way, guy. You do that, you're never going to get it back on. At least I never would. That's way too much. I'd rather just take the tire and just use it as a basher on a vehicle that I'm not really concerned with. That would be insane. Looks like I made the strip of lead a little bit too big. Dang it. Remember, safety first. The success of ungluing a tire and wheel with me is non-existent. It just doesn't work for me. I don't have the patience to do something like that. That's crazy, man. But I've got the patience to do this, though. Maybe that doesn't equal out. That's hugely off, though. I've never seen. Here I am talking about how awesome these Redcat tires and wheels. They really are, but man, this is the first time I've come across one that was this bad. So maybe you don't want Redcat tires and wheels, but I do. Now, all I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of giving it just a slight little curve just to get in there. So that's pretty close to what I would want. Let's see how bad that is. The old tape method ain't working on this one, that's for sure. Yeah, this thing is massively out. That's huge. This tire might be a fail. Let's double check where the balance is. Wait a minute. Something's saying, something's up here. know what? Here I was thinking that there was no water in here. There's water in here. And that is going to kill it right away. So, how about if I vent the tires? I think that would be a stellar idea. I didn't think there was any water in there, but in order for that to change like that, and then just squeeze it right now, and I got water coming out, time to vent my tires. Holy smokes. Means I'm going to have to check all of them. Yeah, like I thought that was going to work. Come on. Wow. There's way more water in there than I thought. Look at that. Wow. All righty then. Well, I got a little hole there for water escape. Jeez. Gotta be kidding me. I'm going the opposite side. I'm going to go on the opposite side. I'm going to vent the other side too. I'm going to do a little pilot hole. My razor blade. Man, that's insane. Now, I should actually mount this. I should mount this to my drill. Wow, there was a lot of water in there. Boy. So much for me saying that there was no water in there. Here's what's nuts. I have not driven this through the water. Or did I? When I went to the beach, did I actually drive this through water? I don't think I did. Did I drive this in water yet? I can't even remember if I drove this in water yet. All right, well, that'll definitely throw your tires and wheels off. So make sure that they're dry and they don't have any water in them. Holy smokes. So what I need to do now is I need to find a bolt that's going to fit my wheel. Actually, you know what? I think I have a hex that I can use right here. And I can find a smaller bolt. And I'm going to spin my, how do I want this to go? Want to go that way? No. What I could do is now I just take a bolt, throw it through, and then just throw it into the chuck of my drill. So basically, I'm just going to go outside right now, provided that I tighten that. I didn't even tighten it enough. Tighten this down. I'm going to give it a spin. What I have to do is make sure that I spin it the right way. So I'll be right back. I'm just going to go give this a spin, see if I can get some of the water out. Probably won't be enough. All right, well, surprisingly, it is definitely full of stinking water. Holy smokes. The amount of water that just came out of that. And they're not actually, I probably should have put like mark indications. So there's a hole there. There's a hole there. And the amount of water that just came out, I'm embarrassed. Because here I am, I'm like, yeah, guy, we're going to balance out some wheels. No, you're not. But see, that's the great part about live. I got nothing to hide. I ain't perfect. I ain't perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pierce all of my tires and wheels now. And what? I ain't talking to you. I'm going to pierce all my tires and wheels. I'm going to vent them, especially in this thing. I didn't realize that I must have driven this in water a lot more than I had thought in order for it to be like that. The amount of water that just came out of this thing, it's going to say, man, it didn't make sense that that wheel was that out of balance. So I am going to drill all my tires and wheels now. Throw this back on, and I'm going to get out there. And like I always say, I'm going to get out there and I'm going to rip it. I'm going to take this thing on the street and I'm going to evacuate all of that water that's in those tires. So this turned into a tire drilling episode. Never mind whatever the heck it was supposed to be. It's now the tire drilling episode. Oh, God. Yeah, whatever, you know. We ain't going to be balancing no tires and wheels in that condition. That's for stinking sure. What I don't have is I don't have my regular wheel wrench. Makes it easier than these pieces of junk. All right. So now I am literally just going to vent my tires. I'll do a little pilot hole. sure I go to the exact opposite side, which is going to be, basically it's that lug. The exact opposite side is actually that lug, but be good enough. Exact opposite side. Right there. Go to this one. Exact opposite side. Just right there. That's it. Done. Now I'm just going to get out there and rip. Just going to get out there and rip it now. Oh my God. I can't believe that I didn't realize that. I mean, I didn't really think that I drove this thing in the water enough to warrant that. But apparently I did. So apparently what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to get out there and rip this thing to an inch of its life. I'm going to drive this thing on the road. First, just to evacuate the water that I did not realize was existing. What a bad animal. All right, get this off of here. Keep all this together. This is my balancing washer for when I do the 24mm wheels. Get that out of there. This can go back where it came from, which was over there. All right, what am I doing? Probably going to need my game changer fan hooked up because I'm going to expend this battery pack. Do it on my bench. You do it on your bench, guy, and film it. So funny. Do it on your bench, guy. Nope. I did that backwards. Yep. How many times have you done like Velcro and ran it backwards? Or how about like when you're doing one of those buckles? How many times did you like lace a buckle wrong? And I don't mean a belt buckle. You know the kind of buckle I'm talking about. Don't be a wise guy. All right. Strapped in. Strapped in. So far, these Power Hobby batteries have been pretty mint. Also, these are the battery packs that are going in my Limitless. So this is a 9,000 milliamp pack. Yes, it's a 4S brick, and it's made by Z. So this is a 200 burst, 100C rated pack. So hopefully this is going to work mint. And this pack literally fits almost the entire tray. I think there's literally just enough room for the wires, and this thing is perfect. Give it a nice balance of ground, earth gripping strength is the hope. What I'm doing is I'm just strapping in my game changer wire with the other connector so I can rip it and not worry. That's it. That's basically it, man. Look at that. Look at how that top goes on now. Perfect. See that? That's how you want it to be. It literally just hops on. Just like closing a regular hood nowadays. Bam. So I'll leave it undone. Gonna take it out and rip it. Gonna evacuate the water that's apparently in my tires that I didn't know. This tire was out of whack anyway. From my original video when I did rip this, fairly confident. Now I'm wondering. Fairly confident it was this tire and wheel combination that was slightly out of balance. Now it's massively out of balance. Just because of the water that was in here that I actually didn't think was in my RC. I didn't think. I really can't remember. I must have driven this in the rain. I had to have. In order for there to be that much water in these wheels, I had to have driven it in the rain. I just actually don't remember. See, that's what I'm saying. Not everything that I do is recorded. I just literally get out there and rip it like all of you guys do. All of you guys get out there and rip it. I'm going to rip it too. So I'm going to do what you guys do. I'm going to get out there and rip it. All right. Thank you for coming in this live stream. COVID and coffee. It was supposed to be balancing wheels. That's actually not going to work. It was more about drilling your tires to give it those vent holes. I should like block up the insides, but I'm just going to wait. I'm going to leave it as is and do the best that I can. Throw a couple of packs through it. I am going to film it. I'm going to get some footage. Going to have the GoPro on my head, maybe one on my controller or whatever. And yeah. So see the smile on my face? That's what this hobby is about. This hobby is point blank about getting out there, ripping it, and having a blast. So I'm just getting the live stream right where we're at. Thank you for coming. And I'll be back and I'll show you how to balance my tires and wheels. Holy crap. What a disaster.